Reflections in someone else's eyes. I always believed our love was the kind other couples only saw in movies. 12 years together, 8 years of marriage, 2 beautiful children. Igor was the perfect husband on paper, successful architect, caring father, a man who never forgot anniversaries. But 6 months ago, something changed, and I felt it before I knew it. The first cracks. It started with little things. Igor stayed late at work more often. His phone was always face down. He became indifferent to my appearance. He used to notice every haircut, every dress. Now he barely looked at me. "Are you tired?" I asked one evening. "Difficult project," he answered shortly. "Demanding client." I believed him. God, I wanted to believe him. That night, my hand reached for his phone, but I stopped myself. "I'm not that woman who spies," I thought. Trust was our foundation. How naive I was. The accidental discovery. The truth came unexpectedly. I forgot my laptop and asked Igor to send me a document. When I opened my email at work, I saw his messenger sync. There was a name, Darina. My hands shook. The messages were intimate, tender, the kind Igor used to write to me. "Can't wait to see you again. You changed my life. With you, I feel alive." I scrolled through months of messages. The worst part was their last date. Last Saturday, when Igor supposedly met a client. I was home baking his favorite pie, waiting with the kids. My world collapsed in silence. Confronting the truth, that evening, Igor came home. The kids were asleep. His laptop lay on the table, open to the chat. His face went through 5 stages: confusion, recognition, fear, guilt, composure. "Alina, How long?" My voice was too calm. "How long?" "It's not what you think. Don't you dare tell me what I think. How long?" He looked down. 7 months. 7 months. I remembered those months. How I worried, supported him, planned our vacation, dreaming of bringing back our closeness. He was building another life, with another woman. I felt stupid. Not just hurt, but stupid. Who is she? I found Darina on social media. Younger, 26. No children, no stretch marks, no dark circles. Bright, smiling, life full of travel. Her latest post from a wine bar. Laughing, holding a glass. Living my best life. Was Igor there, taking that photo? I looked at myself in the mirror. 35. Tired. When did I last do something for myself? When did I feel like a woman, not just a mom? But no, I wasn't blaming myself for his choices. The conversation that evening, Igor was ready to talk. "I didn't plan for this to happen," he began. "She's a colleague. We worked on a project together, and it just happened." I almost laughed. "Nothing just happens, Igor. You made choices. Every day. 7 months of daily choices." "I know, but these last few years, you and I have become like roommates. Kids, work, household chores. When was the last time we talked about something other than bills or school meetings?" I felt anger rising like bile in my throat. "And instead of talking to me about it, you went to another woman?" "She listens to me. She's interested in my thoughts. With her, I feel like a man?" I smiled bitterly. "And with me, you feel what? Like an ATM? I lost something too, Igor. I'm tired too. I also dream about conversations that don't end with, 'Did you take out the trash?' But I didn't go looking for it in someone else's bed." The silence that followed was deafening. "What do you want?" he finally asked. "A divorce?" Honestly, I didn't know the answer. Part of me wanted to scream, throw things, make him hurt as much as I did. Another part just wanted to disappear. And a small part still hoped this was all a nightmare. Loneliness together. The following days, we lived like ghosts in the same house. Igor slept on the couch. I automatically cooked meals, helped the kids with homework, smiled at parent-teacher meetings. At night, I lay in our bed, now only my bed, and asked myself questions. Could I forgive? Did I even want this marriage without trust? The scariest thing was realizing that part of me still loved him, despite everything, and that made the pain even sharper. Because how do you stop loving someone who destroyed you? One evening, my old friend Katya texted, "Heard you're going through a rough time. If you want to talk, I'm here." I felt shame, which immediately turned to anger. Why should I be ashamed? I wasn't the one who betrayed. But that's how it works, isn't it? The victim somehow ends up feeling guilty. The unexpected meeting a week later, I was sitting in a cafe when I noticed Darina. She recognized me too. The girl approached my table. My heart started racing, but I forced myself to stay calm. "May I sit down?" I nodded. Part of me wanted to throw my coffee in her face, but another part was just curious. "I know what you think of me," Darina began, "but I didn't destroy a family." I looked into her eyes. "You did, together with him. He said you'd been apart for a long time, that it was over." I almost laughed. "And you believed him?" "Sweetheart, all married men say that." Darina looked younger than in her photos, vulnerable. And suddenly, I saw not a rival, but a girl who had also, perhaps, been lied to. "He loves you," she said quietly. "He constantly talked about you, about the kids. I was a distraction. A distraction that destroyed our life." She stood up, her eyes glistening. "I ended things 2 days ago, not because of you, because of myself. I turn 30 next month, and I don't want to be someone's distraction anymore." As I watched her walk away, I realized something. We were both victims of the same man's selfishness. The resolution. A month passed. Igor moved in with his parents, filed for divorce, but then suddenly withdrew the application. "I don't want to lose you," he said when he came to pick up his things. I realized what I did. Darina wasn't. It was a mistake. A huge mistake. I looked at him standing in our hallway. No, my hallway now, with his cardboard box of belongings, and felt nothing but exhaustion. "You're not coming back because you love me," I said calmly. "You're coming back because you lost both of us, and you're afraid of loneliness." "That's not true." "Then tell me, when was the last time you looked at me and saw not the mother of your children, not a housewife, but a woman? When was the last time you asked what I dream about? What scares me?" Igor was silent, because he couldn't answer, and we both knew it. "I'm guilty too," I continued. "I forgot about myself, dissolved into roles. But the difference between us is that I was ready to work on us, and you ran away." He left without another word, and I closed the door on 12 years of my life. A new reflection. 3 months later, I stood in front of the mirror. New haircut, shorter, bolder. I'd enrolled in graphic design courses, something I'd dreamed about before the wedding. Started meeting friends again. Joined a gym, not to please anyone, but because it made me stronger. The woman looking back at me was different. She had shadows under her eyes, lines that weren't there before, but she also had something new in her gaze. Determination. Igor came by every other weekend to pick up the kids. We talked politely, but without warmth. One day, my 7-year-old daughter asked me something that broke and healed my heart at the same time. "Mom, do you miss Dad?" I knelt down to be at her eye level. "I miss who he was, who we were, but not what happened at the end. Will you be happy again?" I smiled, and it was genuine. "I'm already becoming happy. Not because someone is by my side, but because I found myself again." That evening, after the kids fell asleep, I opened my journal and wrote, "Betrayal taught me that the worst betrayal is betraying yourself. I betrayed my dreams, my happiness, my right to be more than just someone's wife." Igor opened the door to this truth, but now I'm walking through it alone. And though it hurts, for the first time in many years, I feel alive. Epilogue. A year passed. I got my first order as a freelance designer. Small, but it was my project, my creativity, my money. Igor got married again, not to Darina, to someone else. When I heard, I felt strange relief. I didn't wish him harm. I just let go. That evening, returning home from a client meeting, I stopped by a shop window, saw my reflection, and for the first time in a long time, I liked what I saw. Not a perfect woman, not a younger version of myself, just me. Real, stronger, alive. Life after betrayal turned out not to be the end of the story. It became the beginning of a new one, where the main character was finally herself. And you know what? That's the best plot twist I could have ever asked for.